Nigga, all your dad homies. I don't give a fuck who I'm talking about. All them.
Talking about?
You
Who you
ain't
talking
your
about?
dad.
Bro,
Not surprised.
told on his girl, bro.
Not surprised.
6ix9ine just about to tell on anybody, huh?
Man, come on.
6ix9ine's girl is gone, taken in a shocking way, and the whole scene is buzzing with questions. Now, brand new footage has surfaced showing 6ix9ine just moments before everything happened, and people are saying his words may have stirred up serious drama that played a role in what came next. Let's break down the clip that's shaking the internet. On August 17th, 2025, tragedy hit hard, leaving the hip-hop community stunned. Early that morning, 29-year-old Ariela La Langosta, a Dominican beauty who was building her name as both an influencer and a bartender, was discovered in her car on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. The circumstances around her passing had everyone confused and searching for answers. But what really fueled conversation was her connection to one of rap's most controversial stars, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and how his choices may have created a chain of events that led to this moment. To really grasp how deep this situation runs, you've got to understand who Ariela was. She wasn't just another social media face. She was a force in New York's nightlife. With over 551,000 Instagram followers and 115,000 on TikTok, she built her brand through dance, modeling, and high-energy content that kept fans glued to her page. Beyond her online fame, Ariela was deeply connected to the nightlife world, a space where rappers, hustlers, and internet stars cross paths every night. A world where popularity and pressure often collide in dangerous ways. Cash, clout, and potential drama. Ariela knew that world well, holding it down behind the bar at hotspots like Icon New York and Starlets. She wasn't new to the glitz, the glam, or the tension that comes with moving in the same circles as New York's elite party scene. These weren't just any clubs. This was where celebrities, influencers, and powerful figures crossed paths, creating that unpredictable mix of fame, money, and pressure that could explode at any moment.
What's your definition of a snitch? Let's start there.
A snitch is somebody, I feel like a snitch will do anything to get out of a situation. I'm trying to say, like a snitch will get faced with something and will just give up their mother, their brother, everybody, their whole camp just to be free.
The night before tragedy struck tells a story that feels chilling when you know how it ended. On August 16th, 2025, Ariela was all over her IG stories, vibing at Icon New York, the very spot where she worked. The clips showed her glowing, laughing, dancing, and living it up, like life was nothing but good vibes. Nobody could have guessed those posts would be some of the last moments she ever shared, capturing her energy right before everything changed forever. But here's where things get even more intense. This case left investigators, fans, and critics scrambling to connect the dots. And to really understand the complexity, you have to look at 6ix9ine's history. His track record with law enforcement has always been a hot topic, and it becomes impossible to ignore when analyzing how he reacted to Ariela's passing and the questions surrounding it.
Let me ask you something, and like I said, my respect to the West Coast. You never lacking, right?
Never.
So what happened to the niggas that lack? Let's bring up Nipsey Hussle. You think he said, yo, you will never come up to me because yo, bro, it happened to the best of them.
Yes.
Hold on.
You're absolutely right.
Hold on. So what you gonna say, Nipsey?
This clip from a No Jumper segment shows exactly how 6ix9ine moves, his instant readiness to cooperate with authorities, even when it involves people he was once close with. The host's reaction says it all, showing how the culture really views this type of behavior. And even 6ix9ine himself has admitted it. His pattern of cooperating doesn't stop at just business or friendships. The internet is full of videos highlighting how the streets see 6ix9ine's willingness to give information to law enforcement. And that perception becomes key when people start forming theories about why Ariela's life ended the way it did, because the relationship between her and 6ix9ine is now at the center of all this speculation, for good reason. Here's where it gets complicated. The nature of their connection is one of the most debated pieces of the puzzle. Some sources claim Ariela was his girl, suggesting they had something romantic going on. Other reports say 6ix9ine called her his sister, pointing to a platonic but deep bond. The conflicting stories create confusion, but that's not by accident. It reflects the secretive, often complicated world surrounding 6ix9ine. In his circle, even acknowledging someone publicly can be risky and sometimes even dangerous. What's clear is that Ariella and 6ix9ine's connection went far beyond just casual friendship. She even appeared in the music video for his track WAPA, a collab with Angel Dior, Lanier, and Bolin 47. And this wasn't some quick background cameo. Her role stood out, showing her charisma and presence, marking a major public link between her and 6ix9ine's music world. Even more telling was their 2023 appearance at the Toga Room in New York. That moment highlighted how both were locked into the city's nightlife scene, and it suggested a relationship where they were comfortable being seen together, yet still private enough to dodge the non-stop scrutiny that usually follows 6ix9ine's personal life. The timing of Ariella's passing becomes even more significant when you place it against 6ix9ine's legal situation in 2025. This wasn't the same version of him who once dominated headlines with wild antics and constant internet drama. By then, he was moving under tight restrictions, making any public connection with Ariella rare and risky. After a 45-day federal custody stint in late 2024 for a supervised release violation, 6ix9ine was hit with strict probation. That meant house arrest with electronic monitoring, no international travel, and heavy conditions on both his lifestyle and behavior. Every move he made was under a microscope, which makes their link at this time even more controversial. In July 2025, 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to drug charges tied to a March raid on his Florida home, where authorities reported finding MDMA, cocaine, and other substances. He was still waiting on sentencing in September 2025, which locked down his movements even further and made public appearances extremely limited. These legal constraints painted the picture of a man under constant watch, his every step monitored, with any slip in New York's nightlife scene not just unlikely but potentially devastating for his legal standing. Still, despite all those restrictions, Ariella's passing has been tied in conversations back to 6ix9ine's controversial past and the enemies he picked up along the way, especially after his shift from street-affiliated rapper to known federal cooperator. In some unreleased footage, 6ix9ine even breaks down his mindset when he first decided to cooperate, adding more fuel to the ongoing debate about how all of this connects. This clip shows 6ix9ine taking a defensive stance about his cooperation with authorities, but more importantly, it shows how quick he is to challenge others, asking what they would have done in his situation. That mentality becomes key when examining whether his connection to Ariella might have put her in danger. The transformation of Daniel Hernandez into Tekashi 6ix9ine and eventually into a cooperating witness has been told countless times, but its relevance to Ariella's story can't be overlooked. His history of working with law enforcement and his ongoing conflicts fueled constant speculation. In February 2025, a fake casket was even delivered to his Florida home with the name of rival King Von written on it, something that sparked wild rumors about retaliation and threats. Ariella's passing only added fuel to the fire, with many asking if she got caught in the middle of something much bigger. But here's where it gets even deeper. The story surrounding Ariella isn't just about her link to 6ix9ine. It's about an entire web of rivalries, relationships, and potential motives stretching far beyond a single bond. Multiple interviews and comments from 6ix9ine himself reveal a pattern. His cooperation with authorities wasn't just a one-time move under pressure. It was his go-to strategy whenever legal trouble came knocking. That consistency has huge implications because it shows how his enemies might view anyone close to him, including Ariella. As investigators pieced together the case around her tragic passing, the narrative grew more complex, something way bigger than random violence or a simple mistake on the streets. Let's break down the street talk and theories surrounding this case, because the speculation sounds like a real-life drama with multiple versions competing for attention, each one changing how people understand what happened on that tragic August morning. To really see the layers here, you've got to first look at 6ix9ine's own perspective on street violence and how he justifies his survival tactics. In revealing footage, he breaks down his philosophy, saying why he believes his approach is smarter than the old keep-it-real mentality that's cost so many rappers their lives. His cold analysis shows how he views working with law enforcement as just another strategy, something he says separates him from those who ended up gone too soon. Now, one of the biggest theories circulating across social media, blogs, and even international headlines focuses on the idea that Ariella may have been caught in crossfire, with the real target being her alleged boyfriend, Nada Cartier. Reports describe him as a suspected figure with a heavy street reputation and a history tied to robbery operations. The details of this theory are messy and controversial. Some reports claim Ariella was in a Mercedes G-Wagon with not a Cartier present but unharmed. Even more shocking are unverified claims suggesting she may have been linked to a setup that caused retaliation. If that's true, the story shifts from her being at the wrong place at the wrong time to a deeper involvement in high-stakes drama that ended in tragedy. This theory alone shows just how complicated and dangerous the circles around her had become, painting a picture far bigger than just a random act of violence. Police confirmed detaining someone after the incident. Multiple sources say it was Cartier. His background, including reported irregular entry into the US, makes the theory he was the real target of a planned hit even more believable. Here's where it gets messy. If Ariella was connected to both 6ix9ine and Cartier, that overlap could have put her in danger from more than one angle. The second major theory: retaliation against 6ix9ine himself. His past as a 9 Trey member, testifying in 2019, and the snitch label that's followed him ever since all play into this narrative. And in his own words, 6ix9ine compares himself to fallen rappers, making a point that's just as controversial as it is chilling. 6ix9ine has made it clear he thinks street credibility means nothing if it gets you killed. Some believe the shooting was meant for him, with Ariella caught instead, tied to old vendettas from his past. That theory gained steam after his emotional IG tribute, calling her his sister, even though rumors hinted at something deeper. But here's the twist. Legal restrictions in 2025 had him on house arrest, making it unlikely he was even in New York. That's why some think the attack was symbolic, aimed at someone close to him as a warning. Another theory: Ariella herself may have been targeted for allegedly giving information to authorities, paralleling 6ix9ine's own history of cooperation. It's speculation, but one that's fueling even more controversy. In the footage we reviewed, 6ix9ine makes it clear he sees cooperating as survival, not betrayal. Some even wonder if that mindset rubbed off on those around him. While there's no hard proof, the idea of street justice always lingers when betrayal is suspected. Others link Ariella's death to the wider wave of gang-related violence hitting New York. Around the same time, a Brooklyn nightclub shooting left 42 shell casings behind, tied to gang activity. The NYPD commissioner confirmed multiple shooters, and Mayor Adams even sent crisis teams to stop retaliation. No official connection has been proven, but the timing has fueled speculation that Ariella's tragedy was part of a bigger pattern of violence shaking the city. 6ix9ine's image problem in street circles explains why some believe targeting someone close to him was a way to send a message without confronting a man under federal watch. The case is hard to untangle because of the silence from authorities. They've released no details on shots fired, the sequence of events, or forensic results. That vacuum has allowed conspiracy theories and wild speculation to take over, flooding social media and hip-hop blogs. Law enforcement is stuck managing a high-profile case while dealing with 6ix9ine's controversial reputation and the massive public interest around him. In rare footage, even 6ix9ine himself admits that old-school gangster behavior rarely ends with respect. It usually ends in death. One shocking detail: Alpo Martinez was reportedly at 6ix9ine's baby shower before his own death. A reminder of how messy these connections can get. In this world, cooperating with law enforcement doesn't always end friendships, but it can create deadly contradictions. The investigation into Ariella's passing is being handled by both NYPD and Westchester County Police, officially treated as a suspicious homicide. The chief even confirmed they believe it's tied to criminal activity, giving weight to theories of a targeted hit rather than random violence. But here's the mystery: no suspects, no arrests, no clear motive. For such a high-profile case, the silence is loud. Ariella was found around 8 a.m. in a car on the Cross County Parkway, but details like weapon type, number of shots, and exact timeline remain undisclosed, leaving the public to fill the gaps with speculation. The location alone makes this case puzzling. The Cross County Parkway is a busy route linking the Bronx to Westchester, packed with traffic and cameras. For a shooting to happen there without clear witnesses or footage suggests either a lightning-fast move or careful planning to avoid surveillance. Speculation claims 6ix9ine was with Ariella, but his 2025 probation kept him on house arrest with electronic monitoring, making that unlikely. That forces a new question. Was this a symbolic attack meant to send a message, or mistaken identity where shooters thought he'd be there? And let's not forget, threats against 6ix9ine have been ongoing. In February 2025, a fake casket with King Von's name was sent to his Florida home, proving enemies are still circling. The deeper you look, the clearer it becomes why targeting those close to him might have been the real play. 6ix9ine's confrontational style, calling out hypocrisy and questioning street credibility, explains why he's built up so many enemies. His habit of exposing contradictions doesn't just make him a target, it puts anyone close to him at risk, even if he wasn't there the day Ariella died. Just being tied to him could have made her a target for those looking to hurt him indirectly. This kind of proxy violence, going after associates instead of the main figure, has become common in today's street conflicts, especially when the primary target is too protected to touch. Even the No Jumper host pointed out that 6ix9ine's cooperation history shapes how the culture views him and what that means for people in his circle. 6ix9ine's long history of cooperating with law enforcement is no secret, and in the streets, that reputation makes anyone around him a potential target. His confrontational style only adds to it as he questions others' street credibility while highlighting his own survival. That contradiction is why he remains one of the most polarizing figures in hip-hop. The timing of his emotional tributes to Ariella is also key. They came while he was already under heavy legal pressure with sentencing for drug charges looming in September 2025. Any public statement at that moment was risky, yet he still posted, showing either raw emotion or a calculated move. Some say the tributes were meant to distance himself from her death. Others believe they were genuine signs of loss. Either way, they kept his name in the center of the storm. Ariella's passing shook the city. Tributes poured in from venues like Icon New York and Starlets, calling her a shining star, known for her joy and humility. The Dominican community in New York and beyond joined in mourning, while fans flooded her Instagram with messages of love and condolences. But as of now, big questions remain. What we know for sure is that on August 17th, 2025, Ariella was found shot inside a vehicle on the Cross County Parkway. Authorities say it was a targeted attack tied to criminal activity, but no arrests have been made and the motive is still unclear. This story is far from over, so make sure you subscribe, like, share, and drop a comment below with your thoughts.